Welcome everybody to another episode of Steady Lads. Yet another interesting week behind us, a lot to discuss, and that's why we brought Evgeny with us. Evgeny, good to have you on. Friendly competitor here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I'm going to be very friendly. Selenium and Wintermute are good friends, so I'm not going to ask any difficult questions. So first question, why does Wintermute hate the market and always trying to nuke it every day? Like, why are you guys doing this to us?
I don't know, man. It's been so difficult with all the hate. Like I just heard from like a bunch of our guys who went to East Denver, and there are like literally people coming over and saying like, "Why do you guys keep doing this to us?" And they just like cast our venture guy, and they're just like, "What can I say?" Like it's difficult to see all the hate, but like what's the most difficult part for me is just like how stupid the theories are. It's like almost like flat earth kind of stupid. They just like look at our transfers between Binance and Coinbase and like deduct random shit. And they do it to other things as well. Like I know the there were like I don't know whatever 400 million liquidations of Bybit yesterday, and they're just like, okay, Bybit made 400 million.
Yeah. And they're like, you made like a third of the money back already. Like,
Yeah, and it's like I don't even know how to deal with it. Like you just cannot prove anything to those people. They just
Yeah, I mean,
sad.
you wrote this epic thread. I think maybe Taiki can bring it up where you were like, okay, I'll address this. And quite a banger thread here, over 1 million views. So and other people very interested to at least hear about how this stuff works. And I think like you wrote here, it's not an apologetic thread. You're like, yeah, we're trying to make money, but people are misunderstanding like what people do. And I realized the reason it is because there's a bunch of these like shady small market making firms like in China or wherever else, and what they call market making is more like market manipulation, right? Like they're doing like very aggressive stuff, and some of them have been ending up in all kinds of cases and stuff. But
We've seen it with Kelsey, right? Like Kelsey literally does this stuff. Like the paints in the charts, they're like kind of buying and selling and like making money from pretty much manipulating markets and like inside trading and all this. So like this stuff is happening. Like to me, the most bizarre thing was I literally don't know how to do this manipulation shit. Like even if I really wanted to, I actually like I don't know. It just like I don't get it. And I know there are people who know how to do this, but yeah, skill issue. I don't know how to.
yeah, I guess like sometimes like uh, whenever like a market goes well, and it's always like you see on Twitter like, oh, who's the market maker? We need more of the mantra market maker or whatever. We need more of these guys. Chart just goes up. And then like of course like yeah, like if the market's nuking, um especially if there's any like on chain, like your wallets are marked on chain. Ours are not, because we have thousands of them, but you guys have like some concentrated wallets, and it's always like, you know this wallet from Wintermute just got money from Binance to dump.
No, like I have to say, like it's not limited like this kind of level of I don't know unsophistication. If I'm being like nice, it's not limited to crypto. Like I remember a few years ago, like CEO of Virtual started to like basically just like me responding to like random people on Twitter who basically were accusing Virtue of shorting all the stocks. So like literally the same thing. And the way they were like deducting that Virtue was selling all the stocks is because the Virtue is a public company. And on their balance sheet, they were saying, okay, like we borrowed that many stocks. And they were like, oh, you borrowed that many stocks, you must have shorted. This is part of their business, borrows them to basically provide liquidity. And he basically well, commented to online trolls for like 4 months, I think, on end. And back then it was kind of entertaining to watch, but now I really get the guy.
Yeah, that's Dougie, I think. Doug Sifu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like whenever the market dumps, people don't like to take responsibility for their own actions, so they like to blame like a market maker like Wintermute. And speaking of blaming others, you know, what happened? What did you do to the Fartcoin chart? Like I was the biggest Fartcoin bull. I had so much Fartcoin. there was this OTC sale, right, from Andy Airy to Wintermute. Justin, if you can share my screen, I think it's like over 1% of the supply, and then ever since then, I've capitulated. Like, what's happening here? Like, actually, like for the viewers, like, can you kind of explain like what happens when you do these OTC sales? Because you're like a delta neutral firm, right? So does the hedging happen before, after, during? Can you kind of go over like what happens when Wintermute does OTC?
I would say generally when we do OTC, like what we're trying to do is to do hedging before. It's like it's very much public, which is not always easy. Like when there are perps, basically in those tokens that we do OTC, and we usually hedge in perps. Then we do then the transfer happens, so people actually don't know the OTC sale happened until after the transfer happens. So it's like all delayed information, but people tend to sometimes overreact to those things. And I think, well, maybe that's what happened to Fartcoin. I actually do have some Fartcoin myself for the lows.
You gonna
Wow,
sell all of
that,
it?
that was unexpected. That's a
bullish.
plot twist.
No, but that's how to, like, you don't want to show your cards as like you don't want like rest of the markets to front run you on those OTC sales. So like you want to try to hedge them much faster than it's been becoming public.
So they pre-hedge. Then also the other thing we learned is that hot air rises, but it doesn't rise in price. It rises from Taiki's weak hands to Evgeny's strong hands. So it's all gone to him now.
It's it's still winter in New York. It's still pretty cold. Cold air sinks, but once spring comes, the farts, the hot air it'll rise further. Hopefully,
Does it rise to the sky? I think Taiki has a new coin now, the Maker Sky. So
yes, hot air rises to the sky. That's a good barbell.
Also, to make it clear, like when we say pre-hedged, is like we give a price to whatever the OTC counterparty. It's agreed, and then after we do hedging, like we don't pre-hedge like just so we don't confuse it with us like front running our clients. Like we always hedge once the price is agreed.
I wanted to ask you on this Fartcoin topic. There's like a lot of crypto Twitter sentiment out there that if your token gets a perps listing but not a spot listing, like that is the time to exit. And we saw something similar happen with Fartcoin where it was listed, I believe, on Binance perps, and that basically I think was marked the top or was close to it. Can you share a little bit about that, Evgeny? Like, what should we be thinking when we see a token gets a perp listing but not a spot listing? Like, should we assume there's some hedging activity coming?
I think in general, perp being listed opens up a possibility for people to short the token. Like if there is only a spot, and especially if it's only on some DEX, like people can only buy it, but the only people who can sell are the holders, obviously. So it's like nobody can short the token. Like once the perps are open, like it's free season. Anyone who thinks the token is overvalued can short it. And I think in case of meme coins and in case of Binance listing specifically, it's on one hand, yes, there are some people who shorted because they think it's overvalued or it will go down, but there are also, it's like almost a self-fulfilling prophecy now as well, because so many tokens went down after Binance listing. So now like there is an extra set of people who short all the perpetual listings because on average they go down. So it's like, yeah, it just self-fulfills.
I mean, part of it is like, as we've seen with this, we were talking backstage about this conversation between Ben Chow that came out with the DeFi Tuna guy, and like a lot of these behind the scenes things are starting to come out, and especially around meme coins, it's pretty clear that we went from like VC coin insider stuff to like something that maybe started kind of organic, but quickly like got professionalized by extractors. And it seems to me that a lot of the meme coin cabals probably are just like, keeping strong, waiting for the exchange listing. Like that's been like the game theory optimal strategy. It's like they need the coin to get to a certain size so nobody sells. But then once Binance, whether it's perps or spot, doesn't really matter, but they get like, the dumbasses that are on centralized that don't know how to use dexes, they get those people to buy, and then that's kind of how they see it. Like that's their exit liquidity, it looks like.
Yeah, so like maybe the exit liquidity is CZ, right? Because CZ doesn't know how to use a DEX. I thought this was pretty crazy. Like I would assume CZ would know how to use like a DEX and like LP and stuff, but apparently like last week or so was like the first time he's ever used like a DEX. Is that common?
Like
Like,
many such cases, right? Like Tolly from Solana as well posted about this, that his lawyers don't allow him to use anything on Solana, which I found quite bizarre as well.
It's funny because like CZ probably has like the biggest bags of all these decks is like, you know, Pancake. Like he owns like such a big part of these things, and then like he's never like used it. And I guess like now he's enjoying, you know, his retirement, semi-retirement, and kind of going through and like, oh, this is what I had like, you know, $5 billion of. Okay, it's pretty cool. Cool. Well, let's look at markets a little bit. Justin, if you can bring up CoinGecko. I mean, it's been an eventful week. I said this at the beginning of the year. The whole year is going to be traders' paradise, investors' hell, and this is, you know, kind of playing out, I guess, to a T. So
This is your paradise, Jordy?
yeah, I've actually like I've been one of the few people maybe loving the situation here. You know, we're not gonna enter a bear market. I'm curious what Evgeny thinks. Like, is the bear market upon us? Does it feel that way, or any guesses, Evgeny?
I think we should see the bear market and memes and alts potentially. This is like the general gist of it is like we should see dislocation between tokens that are available to institutional investors and tokens that are available to the rest of the market. And especially, well, last year we got so oversaturated first with BC coins, then with all the meme coins. Now we have like a bunch of unlocks coming to the BC coins again this year, which is not super bullish, I think, for a lot of them. So I think like the tokens that should outperform should either be the things that will get an ETF, but not necessarily all of them. Like I would imagine if, I don't know, something like Litecoin gets an ETF, like I don't think there's going to be like shit ton of institutional interest in this. Also, who knows? And on the other hand, there's basically all the new protocols. Like quite curious what the meta is going to be this year in terms of launches. I want to believe that launches will happen at a much earlier stage, because I think there has been generally trend towards like building a more loyal following from people who just invested earlier, like you see Echo and Legion and all those kind of platforms. Like generally allowing people to invest early just creates this like fan base that will fight for you and will, I don't know, keep buying your token further down the line. And I hope that we'll see trend towards that instead of like people keep listing like 5-10 billion valuation stuff.
Yeah. I mean, let's get a kind of Justin and Taiki. You guys sometimes are emotionally responding to the market. Justin, I know you're feeling the highs and the lows. Like, how are you feeling right now? Are you like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean it's so hard to tell like how responsive I am being to price versus just like the fundamental situation of where we're at in crypto. I think it's probably a combination of both. I mean, we've talked a lot about this on the show, but over the last few years, like if you had told me in 2020 this was what crypto would look like today, I'd probably say, wait a minute, so we never built anything? Like nothing changed, nothing happened? Like what are we in this? Like what are we doing here? And like there's a huge element of truth to that. That said, price going up fixes everything. And if, I'm sure if ETH was above 5K at 10K or something, I would think, wow, the fundamentals are very improved. But it is a tough time in the markets, I think. I think there's a lot of uncertainty here. I mean, BTCD has gone up basically for a couple of years plus straight, to a little over 60% now. ETH has done extremely poorly. ETH was seen as the fundamental chain. Even Solana is doing poorly now. Solana is actually down more from its all-time high than ETH, which is like incredibly shocking how things reverse. So I think a lot of people are feeling the pain. I find myself questioning, is the cycle over and do cycles even matter? I'd be curious to hear about your guys' take there.
Let's bring up this tweet from Donald, because it's kind of interesting to see like what becomes viral. And this one went, very viral. So Eric Trump was saying, buy the dips. And Donald says, "The fuck you telling us to buy the dip for? Tell your dad to buy the dip." 23 23,000 likes. That's just the amount of likes on this, I guess, is telling. I think people have a bit of a sentiment that, we were sold the story after the election that, things are such a different world now with Trump getting elected. But then like we're facing dips like a couple months later that are very brutal. And so the guy's like, I thought like Trump is supposed to support the dips. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, everything in crypto historically, except for the Bitcoin ETF, has been sell the news since I got in this space. Like January 20th, Trump's inauguration. I think we were even talking on the show whether, Jan 20th would be the peak. And to date, that basically has been correct. Trump has effectively been sell the news for crypto. I do think though, like there is fundamental change happening. The Uniswap lawsuit was dropped. The OpenSea lawsuit was dropped. The Coinbase lawsuit was dropped, all by the SEC. I mean, those things actually do matter. And so the hope we have now, I think, for the industry is that due to the proper regulation we're going to see over the next 4 years, these crypto companies can actually build more meaningful products, right? The tokens can actually represent, on-chain value in a way, and we can actually drive value to the token. I think that's the hope we have here.
Yeah, and I think Evgeny had this tweet of, okay, maybe this is a flight back to quality, and I don't think the market is pricing in like a more favorable SEC. And if you think about like how much dollars, like how many millions of dollars went into these companies like fighting the SEC, it probably drained like a few $100 million down the drain, right? So maybe do you have thoughts on this, Evgeny? Like, do you think that what do you mean by a flight to quality? Like, does that just mean Bitcoin or like DeFi? Like, can you kind of expand on your thoughts here?
Yes, it's kind of like two things playing, well, that should play really nicely with each other. Like on one hand, like we have it's not even neutral. I think it's kind of like positive SEC, CFTC leadership. Like SEC, like they're posting like some positive like memos and like how they want to like handle crypto tokens, for example. CFTC like abandoning the crusade of against the betting against the like how to call it, prediction markets, which is also pretty big for like not necessarily like for all crypto, but for poly market, for example, for sure. So on one hand you have this, so and just like you said, it basically does unlock a lot of like value in tokens that actually do something useful. I don't know, maybe Uniswap finally turns on the fee switch. I don't know, like, but even if it doesn't, then there will be like a bunch of other protocols that do, and some of them already did actually turn on the fee switch. So it basically just unlocks a lot of things for those protocols to share with users. And then on the other hand, like basically talking about flight to quality, people burned on those meme coins so much now. And they got burnt on this like VC tokens. Now they got burnt on meme coins. I mean, they either should go back to trading or like should just go trade stocks or something, or ETFs, or they should actually look at the quality DeFi stuff, like, I don't know, tokens that actually do something, that they actually have tech and distributions and, I don't know, sharing fees with users or doing buybacks or what's not, which is now allowed effectively.
It really, like, I've used this analogy a few times, but I'll use it again. Like you have like these people going to the casino and there's different games, and that's like exactly what you described. Like, there was the VC game, maybe that was like blackjack. You kind of lose money. It's not exactly like in your favor. And then they went from that and they went to this like what I've called the 000 roulette game, where like the fees and the MEV and like when you add it all up on the insiders and the sniping and like the protocol fees, like there's so much fees on Solana, like in this like game, this casino game, that it didn't turn out great. There was a tweet I had to comment on from one of these like on-chain tracking, somebody buying Trump coin here, and a whale dumped 763,000 Trump coins and lost $24 million from his entry. And the funny thing is, he had initially made $11 million, and he went back in. Like, he made it $11 million, and he decided to spin that roulette wheel again and lost all the money plus a lot more. And I had to ask, like, who are these people doing these things? Like, it's so crazy. And I love the comment below. Somebody says they were just putting the money back into the chart after making the 11 million. Speaking of putting money back in the chart, there was a news story. I don't know if this is true or not, but this Whale Insider account tweeted that reportedly the DOJ is opening an investigation into the Libra coin and into all the kind of main characters here that we've seen, Kelsier and Hayden Davis and some of the entrepreneurs. I'm very curious to see what happened. Like obviously, like people are wondering, like we were getting lawsuits dropped on the one end. Are they going to go after like the more fraudulent things, or is it just completely crime season? So I remember some predictions early on that GCR, I think in one of our chats, people always like are curious to see what GCR is saying. So I leak like a couple things, but I think he was saying he actually expects from he's a very political, knowledgeable guy because he was in that space for many years trading those markets. And he thinks actually that they're going to crack down pretty hard on crime, more than we expect. And the people who just assume that you're not going to getting this stuff, it'll be true for like the insiders that are very close to Trump. Like they're not going to get prosecuted for anything. That's true. But all these like randoms like Kelsey or whatever, they might have a different story. I don't know what your expectation is, Evgeny.
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice if that's the case. Like, I'm actually like that would be super positive for the space as a whole. If they actually go after some people, I think it's generally really hard because I don't know, like, what are they gonna charge this Kelsey guy with exactly? Like, it's not a security, it's some meme coin bullshit. Like, I think it's gonna be generally really hard to fight this. But then again, like them going after them hopefully will prevent at least some of those scammy people from doing this stuff. So maybe this DOJ lawsuit is not destined to succeed, but at least it will prevent some people from doing stuff because nobody wants DOJ to go after them.
Evgeny, did the explanation we saw from the team make any sense to you? Like they were saying, we wanted to be the snipers. We didn't want other people to snipe it, so we sniped it. You've been a part of many token launches. You've had to maintain some secrecy around this stuff. Like, what would you have done differently if you wanted to launch a Malay token or a token on behalf of Malay? Like, how would you go about that in a more reasonable manner?
I mean, I would honestly just pre-mint some for myself, and that's it. Like, instead of doing all this like weird stuff about like pre-sniping things. And another thing, I don't know, I don't get like why people don't do it, but just do it bloody auction. Like just do like a 1-day auction and let the token like uncross after 1 day. That's the most simple TradFi mechanism for price discovery for like new things or like less liquid, like unclear things. Just do a 1-day auction and that's it. Like technology is not that difficult to create.
I think the reason is like you do auctions for things that have like some underlying value, and it makes sense. We kind of do an auction, we do a balancer pool or something, and we figure out, okay, here's like the fair value of this thing, and we can go into like a nice. But with these things, it's just a game of crash, and there's no underlying value. So the whole point is that it starts low and it goes high, and then who knows how high, and hopefully you don't buy the top. And maybe like that's part of like the meme coin kind of game.
Well, Sue said this last week to us, and it was so spot on. I hadn't realized it first. It's like these are all games of crash, and the only problem with the Libra token was that it just ended too quickly. You only had 4 minutes to buy, or you were underwater, right? Like if it was like a 4-day experience, right? Like to his point, like that would actually be seen as like your average win in the meme coin community. Like some people made money, but obviously it goes to zero over time. Like that's sort of the point, which I hadn't really thought about before.
The other thing I'll say with like launches, because I have these go-to-market conversations with founders almost every day. They generally like are risk averse because it's their one shot. They're not going to do it. The real founders, they're not going to do 1,000 coins. Like they've worked for a long time. Now they're doing their launch. They're pretty risk averse, so they want to do something that they saw work recently. So this is kind of like why trends pick up on these launches, because bad launch, bad launch, bad launch, and then like somebody has a good launch. I'm not gonna like name names, but it's considered that okay, this one is good, and then it just becomes this like nobody wants to experiment. They just want to try to replicate as much as possible whatever that one guy did on that thing, and I think the same thing with meme coins. Like, why don't people do an auction? Because they look at what worked on the last ones, and they just try to do what Trump did. Like Kanye was trying to launch a coin, and he just wanted to do it like Trump was doing it because that's the one that
Yeah, but
worked.
what people don't understand is like if there is a new meta, there will be people who will game the new meta, and they will front run the people who think it's like that's the right way to do the launches. So it will just keep changing. So it's just you just cannot do it like so. I don't know. I really strongly believe that auction is like the most fair way to do this stuff.
It's sort of like we had like Blur created like points farming, right? And then everyone did points, and then all the points farms were worthless at some point. I farmed things with points that still hasn't launched. I'm like, where the fuck are these guys? And then the Hyperliquid does a good points program, and it's like, oh, like maybe points are good again. And then like now everyone's like trying to like do like the long point system, the community. Yeah, I guess people's teams like there's like no right way to launch, right? So everyone's just trying to figure it out in real time.
Honestly, like good launches only work well. Ultimately, good launches work for protocols that do really good products. So it's completely pointless to replicate Hyperliquid because the right way to replicate Hyperliquid is not to replicate their points program, it's to build a good DEX in the first place. And that's much, much, much harder.
Yeah, I mean they had like a lot of money, I guess, to rip into the chart as well to kind of show that they're in it, that they're not just trying to make a little bit of money and leave, like they're kind of in it for the long run. And I think the market always reacts very positively when it's obvious from the actions, like actual money is being kind of invested. And yeah, I mean we've had a few recent launches that have generally been gone well. So the whole meta of like shorting the launch seems not to be working. Probably like Evgeny said, like people have started front running the shorters because people were making too much easy money just like shorting on the launch. And I think there's been kind of counteracting money coming in to fight that, and then we're gonna go into like a new meta. So it's ever evolving, and I think it's an interesting evolution to track.
And if I have a question for Evgeny. So obviously, like last week, the Bybit hack happened, right? And we kind of talked about it last week, but I just wanted to hear like what your experiences with like that day, right? That 24, 48-hour period, and what do you think happens? Like what are the ramifications moving forward? We had to eat pump a little bit after because Bybit bought, and then we just like went straight down. So do you think it just means that we're going to be in choppy waters and it's kind of slightly bearish? Like what do you think about like the ramifications of this?
I mean, to start with, like it's pretty impressive how easy it was for Bybit to buy like 1 bill plus worth of fees. Like we did some of it, like there are a bunch of other OTC desks doing some of it. Like I'm guessing like Bybit found other sellers like somewhere as well. So like now they're whole apparently. Yeah, so like liquidity and ease is definitely here. But I guess it works both it works both ways. So it's like I don't think it's really easy to pump the price, or it's not so easy to crash the price. I think like why price is falling now is just because everything is just correlated. So if Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down.
Yeah, so I mean, I think like both you and I, Evgeny, were pretty impressed with Ben's reaction. We're both founders, and we're both always scared of hacks, and I know you guys have had to go through it as well. So you have like experience being in his position, and like we mentioned this last week, like his whoop score and like just like how calm he was during this stuff. I mean, I have nightmares at night because we, of course, we're both getting constantly targeted by the same state actors that went them, and we have to just be very paranoid, and the paranoid are the ones who survive. Yeah, like can you talk about like how calm he was compared to maybe like your experience? Like, is it easy to just kind of go through stuff? Do you go into like survival mode where you just have to be calm and focused? Like what generally happens when you go through a big hack?
I think it's like really depends on the person, I guess. You do definitely get into survival mode, And like we had it with the hack, we had it with FTX, we had it like with a bunch of other things. Like, I mean, things that just continuously happen in crypto. But yeah, like first thing, you're just trying to figure out, okay, are you still solvent?
I heard Ben's interview, and like he said, like the first question he asked was like, "Are we solvent? Like, can we cover this?" Because it completely changes like your path dependency and like how are you gonna proceed from there.
Because like if you're solvent, then okay, then it's about like you still have a business, you need to manage like all kinds of relationships, you need to calm the markets because like it was all very obvious it was a hack even before they admitted it because the hackers started converting STEs into ETH. It was like very obvious hacky thing to do. Um, so yeah, like they started the damage control pretty much. And I think like one thing they did, which both me and you guys were like on the receiving end of, like they opened the withdrawals, but they opened the withdrawals to the retail people first. They actually did not allow them for institutionals, like for big clients. And that was primarily, basically, I think like on one hand, it was like a more fair thing to do because it's just like much better to allow normal retail people to withdraw first. And on the other hand, it just also like there are a lot more retail people on Twitter compared to institutional people. So all the retail people saying like, "Oh, I could withdraw normally, like there are no issues." It should also calm things quite a bit more. Also, I guess like institutionals are not going to bitch on Twitter that we cannot withdraw. We're just gonna wait and talk to.
Oh, just take it.
We're gonna
Yeah.
talk. Yeah, we just take it and talk to exchange directly, but we're not gonna like bitch on Twitter about it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it was handled like, I just have to say like it was handled really well on their side.
Yeah. And then the game begins. Like, how much can you recover? Obviously, like there's these guys are trying to move it in different ways. They try 100 different things. Um, I don't know if you guys managed to recover anything. It seems like in Bybit's case, like they're slowly trickling in. Certain things are getting frozen, USDT, USDC. Did you guys what ended up happening with the hack that you had? Did you manage to freeze anything?
No, we managed to freeze some Paxos dollars. Like remember when there was this like Paxos stablecoin? So we managed to freeze that, and we received it like after a year or so from US government. So it took like this whole process insane. But rest of it, like I mean, it's pretty public because it's all on blockchain. Like the hacker just like moved all the tokens they stole, they just left them on the wallet, and all the stable coins they put them into curve pool, and it's still there to this day. Like nothing moved at all. So which also basically, there's not much you can do with that.
So curve pool, they just kind of mix it in there and then um
I think it's like 70% of this like three pool or something at the moment. It's like
Wow.
insane amount. Yeah.
Forgot
how
about
come
people.
how come they didn't try this stuff now with like trying to move it to BTC? Is that maybe a different actor or like why do you think it's a different playbook?
We don't expect like I don't think it's North Korea basically in our case. So it's a different playbook.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, these North Koreans, maybe we can bring up a little bit of like Thorchain had some interesting tweets, like, a little bit controversial to bring up this tweet, but they're doing a lot of volume. So, after like their fiasco with like the awful semi-retarded DeFi lending thing they had, which was like, fell down that House of Cards. Now they're very proud now. So we're so back. We're so back, guys. 737 swap million volume. Look at that all-time high swap. Somebody asks, is it mainly the hackers or what is this volume? And he says, yeah, it's all coming from the hackers. But who really cares? It's a win for us. Like it's fine. Interesting take here though. And then he says, how come no one gives Ethereum shit for just we're decentralized, just let us enjoy our moment. Yeah, I don't know if this was good publicity. It doesn't feel like you want to mess with North Korean funds and getting involved in that. So I know Chainflip that was also providing this swap. They kind of blocked everything from this hack. So We'll see if Thorchain kind of gets forced into that. But that was quite a take. I had to like click on the guy, make sure it was like the real guy, or this was like a parody account or something.
To his benefit, it is pretty impressive how North Koreans can just sell that much ETH for Bitcoin in a permissionless way. It is good tech, but
So Justin, you were asking ChatGPT about like why they do this. Maybe you want to tell the listeners like what you found out from your AI assistant.
Yeah, so I was curious, like, why are they dumping ETH for Bitcoin just because no one wants to hold ETH, or is there like a fundamental, reason why they're doing this? Is there something advantageous about holding Bitcoin? And I did a little research on ChatGPT, and it looks like there's a few reasons. Like, one, Bitcoin uses UTXO, so it's a lot easier to obfuscate transactions. There's a technique called UTXO peeling. You can Google it, and it basically allows you to sort of like siphon off funds to new addresses. Bitcoin also has a lot more mixers and obfuscation tools. And then also there's just like less on-chain analysis tooling, right? Like if you just think of your own experience on crypto Twitter, like we're always able to easily track things on Ethereum, but there's less of this tooling for Bitcoin. And then lastly, there's just more fiat off ramps for Bitcoin, more people accept it. And so it's their preferred method of, what they can transfer into.
No, I think ultimately what happens is like there are a bunch of those, I don't know, Asian exchanges, like it's not even 30, it's like whatever, 50th tier, that basically facilitate, like they're basically sort of like Thorchain in that regard. They just like their core business is basically along the like stolen funds. And I think a lot of, well, one of those exchanges actually took quite a bit of money from Bybit hacker, and they like ignored any comments from Zach and like other security researchers. They just like kept laundering money, but at some point they ran out of Bitcoin, and then they went and bought some more Bitcoin on via Thorchain.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not only did they not respond, but they were like posting their response on 4chan, and basically like the response was like,
Oh wow.
fuck you, Bybit. Like you're always like freezing our withdrawals, so why should we help you? And yeah, it's really, really bad stuff. But I did see that there's a bounty leaderboard now. So Ben announced that they're going to give 10% bounties, and they're just keeping track. So they made a whole website, and we can see this tweet here. I think Zach kind of clicked here and it's like, oh, interesting. So they haven't responded to his submissions yet. So it's basically like all of the money given out was started with like the kind of METH save, where they saved the 15,000 ETH there. And somebody wrote, "This is Zach's version of farming yaps for Kaido airdrop, giving what he deserves," which I thought was a brilliant tweet. Cool. I mean, before we go to pasta, let's just like look at some of the other things going on, I guess. So we have the Solana unlocks right now. I think as this video is going to get released, they will have started. There's a big debate on like whether this has been hedged or not, or how much this has been hedged. The amount I think being released in the next few days is something like it's almost 10 million SOL, which used to be several billion. I guess now it's just like 1.2, 1.3 billion, that kind of thing. I still find it hard to believe that there's actually like that much hedging and we haven't gone on negative funding rate. So I still doubt that it's mostly hedged, but maybe there'll be a lot of people that just don't sell it anyway. Any what's your instinct say, Evgeny, on this like SOL unlock?
I mean, we participated in some of it, so I know that like it was a sort of competitive process. Like there were a lot of bidders with the SOL, and I think the ones who won were the people who were willing to hold it for long periods of time. Like given where is the SOL, where is SOL trading now? It's like 100 something, right?
137.
130. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not that much. Like okay, some people will make like 2x on it who bought it, but I think they will hold for way longer. Like they were not buying it to get a 2x in 1 year. Like I think they were like looking for 10x or something. Like people who bought in those like FTX auctions, they're looking to hold for much longer. Okay, there are some people who just held it like not from FTX auctions, but from like way before. I think they could have hedged like way, way earlier as well. So I don't know, like to me it sounds, yeah, I think it's priced in, but we'll see.
So you think these holders are comfortable holding through, like, in some ways it feels like, at least in crypto Twitter, that like the sentiment for Sol has broken down, like the use case for Solana is no more, and Solana has to sort of rebuild and figure out what people are going to use it for next. Do you think that plays a factor at all, or not really?
Um, I guess sure, like meme coin season may be over and stuff, but Solana proved it has a tech. Like it actually didn't crash. Like remember, like 2 years ago, it was just like stop working every now and then. It would have to be restarted. Like it did not have to be restarted last year. It handles the load pretty well. And I think the most important thing, it kind of like you look at Solana versus Ethereum thing, and Ethereum doesn't look like it's winning, right? It looks like there is a lot more mind share for Solana. Like there is like we might see like new DeFi season on Solana, for example, now, just because the infra is there, like everything is there to actually support something, some other use case outside of meme coins. So I think it's, yeah, it looks pretty bright for Solana in general.
Is that what you believe too, though? You think it's like Ethereum's losing the game and Solana is going to continue to win that mind share?
I think Ethereum can flip it around, and I think Ethereum can definitely flip around just simply if the price starts going up, and the price can go up simply because TradFi people who are not privy to all this like crypto Twitter discussions, they can just start buying ETH and it will go up simply because of that. So we can simply see this, like I don't know, maybe in a few months' time, the staked ETH version of ETF is approved, and I don't know, some institutions start piling in. Who knows? And then like the whole narrative will change magically. Like technology will start working.
It'll suddenly be good technology. And like the one crazy thing I was like thinking about is like last week, like I was like moving money around on ETH mainnet because I had like loans and stuff. Like when the Bybit hack was happening, and I thought gas would hit like Gwei would hit like 50 or like 100, right? Because everyone's trying to, but it was like 8. Like even despite this hack, like no one was using mainnet. It's still so cheap. Like I can do swaps for like $1. I mean that's not a good thing because that means no one's using it. But yeah, it feels like every new meta that's going to come out in the future will happen on Solana, even like the AI stuff. I mean, like Base had a virtual, but like most of the things were happening on Solana, right? So it feels like whatever new meta will form, it's going to be on Solana. Is like the vibe I get. But until then, it's kind of treading water, I suppose.
Now, to be fair, like part of the reason gas was so cheap on ETH was also because of actual improvements on like with the IP systems. I don't remember which ones, but like it actually for a reason as well. Like you actually pay way less gas now compared to whatever DeFi summer, even during the busy periods.
Yeah, I think the other big change on ETH is that Aya is now stepping down as executive director, and instead she's going to be the president. So nobody knows what the hell this means.
It's like communism, all these fake titles. No one knows what they actually do.
It's like there's a president and there's a prime minister. Like, who has like, what's going on?
But it's only
So
Vitalik's say. Vitalik is the only one that has a say in this, apparently. So
yeah, I don't think the way it was announced was good. It kind of was disappointing to see that they're just being so like vague and like not committing to any clarity for the community. So hopefully that means something good is gonna happen. But yeah, the communication was subpar. Meanwhile, on Solana land, the one interesting thing I wanted to point out is I saw this article that Pump.Fun is launching their own DEX. And just to give listeners who don't follow this very closely, Pump.Fun has this bonding curve, but as soon as things go to $65,000 or so, they get pushed onto an actual AMM. So before that, it's sort of this like fake AMM, virtual AMM, as it's called. Historically, since the beginning, everything has gone to Radium. So they've had this partnership with like one of the main dexes on Solana. Radium, they've kind of king made them. If it wasn't for Pump.Fun, I don't think Radium, would have been anywhere near as successful as it has been this cycle. And it seems like the obvious thing is happening, which is Pump.Fun is testing their in-house AMM, because at the end of the day, like, these things are just uniforks, right, to a certain extent. why not just kind of capture the value that you're getting from these graduated curves? I thought this was like a very obvious one. They should have done this earlier. I don't know if you have a take on this, Evgeny. What you think?
I think, yeah, it feels like a bit too late. Like given that, I don't know, potentially meme coin meta is just like, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it, like a bit too late. Like they feels like they should be doing something else. Like I don't know, maybe build a perp dex or something. Like yeah, doing something which is next stage for all the tokens that pop up. But I don't know. Like it's still maybe it still makes sense for like if meme coins season restarts in like 6-12 months time.
Yeah, it is shocking to see this is the number of coins bonded per day. So the ones that graduate from the bonding curve onto Radium. But it's crazy. This is down so bad. And I've been reading too, a lot of these tokens that do bond, they just get bonded by the developer. So the developer just puts in enough SOL to get it, to graduate it, to have the appearance of success. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I can tell just anecdotally. I don't know anyone, I'm in a lot of chat groups and we did a lot of degenning on Solana, through December, January, and there's just zero appetite for that right now. People are very risk off with this stuff.
Yeah, I think even the Murad thesis, he's still very optimistic. I see him come up on my timeline, and he still gets a lot of likes. He says some things like, "It's just about to begin, guys. The all-time highs this is the month. Like it's just gonna happen." And then meanwhile, I saw the Giga chart. We can bring this up.
The most
So
organic chart in all of crypto history.
this candle is just like, I mean, wow. Yeah, it's
No.
Maybe Wintermute bought a bag OTC. You never know.
It's always Evgeny. When something goes against you, blame Wintermute, right?
Yep.
Oh man,
All right.
it's a real candle. Jesus, 72%. Oh my,
it's a real
Lord.
candle. It's a brutal one.
Giga chats are stepping in.
He's still getting engagement, so I think they're still believers, and hopefully it's not like the Japanese World War II where they're still like on the islands when the war is already over and they're still kind of trying to fight their little battles there. So we'll see.
I heard Murad's pivoting to Maker. Actually, that should be announced later today.
Wait, what?
Maker.
No, I'm just kidding. It was Taiki.
All right, Justin.
Yeah.
Hopefully your pasta is going to be better than that joke. So let's move to pasta and see if you can get something good there. Cool. So Justin, kick off. Let's see what you have this week.
Oh man, I got a couple pastas here, but start with this. So Flood, we had on notable ETH bear, put out this hilarious post from today. Breaking news: disaster. I'm going through old wallets and discover something terrible. My heart races. It can't possibly be. I open up a wallet and there's something I hope I'd never see. ETH. It was unstaked a long time ago and for some inexplicable reason never sold. I frantically withdraw. The pain of holding a worthless asset. It's almost too much to bear. Withdraw over to Matcha. Swap. Sell for USDC. Deposit to Hyperliquid and short ETH perp as revenge. Thank God. That could have ended poorly. Man, hilarious. I think this is real too. We had Flood on. I think it sounds real.
I mean, all I'll say is, find you a girl that looks at you the same way Flood looks at Hyperliquid. That's what you need in life.
Yeah.
The dedication. He's like flooding every other bag possible. Kaido's a piece of shit. He's just like everything else. There's only one bag, and it's so dedicated. So, if you find a girl like that, Justin, you gotta hold on.
But there's one thing I'm proud of. A few weeks ago on the show, like Trump launched on Sol, and I was like, damn, it's over for ETH, right? Like all of this new activity is going to happen on ETH. Thank God I did not swap then. I think Sol ETH is down like 30 to 40%. And this post of this dead gorilla, when you swapped your Ethereum at 2,900, bought it 4,300 for Sol at 250, and now Sol is at 120. I mean, I think worse than holding ETH is trying to trade back and forth Sol ETH. It's just so hard. Maybe now is a good time now that, Sol ETH is down like pretty good amount off the highs, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens indeed. All right. I like the gorilla.
That was a good one.
Taiki, I heard you have a secret pasta. We haven't seen it, so we're just about to get it revealed.
Yeah, so obviously ETH Denver is happening right now, and as it always happens, ETH is dumping, right? ETH Denver, it always happens. But I saw this photo of ETH Denver. There's actually a lot of people there. Like, oh, that's pretty impressive. Like last time I was at ETH Denver, there's like no one there, but it's like a packed house. It seems like there's actual leadership going on. Lots of cameras. So maybe this is bullish right here. ETH Denver looking good.
Oh my god.
I mean, if you're one of the largest holders of ETH, then you get to speak. Apparently, you're considered aligned.
No, they're
you're
like
aligned.
the EF though. They're already dumping their ETH.
At least, like the one thing I'll say about the fucking Koreans is at least like they know how to use on chain. Like they know how to actually like use crypto. They're actually like pretty sophisticated. So
Our users, yeah.
The power users. What if like most of the activity on mainnet is just North Korea? It's possible, I guess.
it's Justin Sun in North Korea. It's like those two kind of playing back and forth. That's a very good one. Evgeny, did you bring us a pasta as well?
I'm usually in the pastas, but I couldn't really find anything this time. So instead, I don't know. I have 3 kids, so there were some wholesome news today about Mama Pig from Peppa Pig having the third baby. And I actually made a. Yeah, I don't think we should watch that.
We can watch
But
we can watch a few seconds just to get the. We need
Yeah.
to get the.
Yeah.
I need
sentiment.
the contract address, Evgeny. Like, what's this new meme coin you're launching?
Well, I made a not very successful tweet joke, like if Elon is the father or not, because that would explain something.
If Elon is the father, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been
He is busy. Yeah.
he's busy. He's a busy guy. He runs 8 companies, and he's also doing he's gonna repopulate the earth apparently.
Genghis Khan style. Yeah.
Let's get a couple seconds of Mama Pig. Let's just it's very wholesome.
I've never been on telly before. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. We've been a buzz in the studio all morning because we hear you have a very exciting announcement.
That's right, I do. So, I'm very excited to tell you all that
Mummy, they're showing you on TV. Come and see.
We'll let Brad chop off a few seconds.
This might go down as the worst pasta in Steady Lad's history. Kenny.
And that's
So
coming
bad.
from Justin. That's coming from Justin.
Yeah.
So that's saying something.
Achievement unlocked.
The one pasta I liked actually, like we can bring this up. There's like the Kelsier guy who had like the massive chest. There's a
Now this is a pasta.
this is the pasta right here. This
Yeah.
it's 2 weeks
It's
old,
like
so it's not like
It's still old. It's like too old.
it needs to be fresh. Pasta needs to be fresh. So, all right, let's wrap up. I have my submission, and we'll see if it matches up to a Taiki's very strong one. But with all the security hacks, we have to be very careful now. We can't just like sign stuff blindly. Even something called safe is apparently not safe. So, Safe Moon kind of was leading the way, and now Safe Wallet, I guess. Safe Wallet's not.
Yeah.
But Emiliano here says that after the Bybit hack, the only true way to make sure that you're safe is 100% safe is to calculate the hash manually, offline. And he says, "Am I the only one doing this?" And it's got some proper ones and zeros here. He's calculating the hash. So, well, maybe we need to move to this, and maybe we're kind of going back to the OG ways. Are you guys implementing this internally yet at Wintermute?
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, send this stuff by pigeons as well.
Evgeny, didn't you guys have an issue with Safe? Like, I remember like 4 years ago, didn't you send funds to the wrong Safe address? The same Safe address wasn't on, I think, Optimism, and you would send OP tokens to that wrong address.
And we did and it was quite painful. But that was like 90% recovered.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't that bad. We actually hardly use Safe as an org these days. Like we moved to, I don't know, other like more centralized providers like Fireblocks and Fortify. Primarily because it is not an institutional grade solution. It's a good solution for normal people, I think, but not for like really, really big orgs.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the main thing to be like, I don't know, salty with Bybit about is, yeah, org of this size should not use Safe generally. Like it's probably not
Yeah.
good.
Shout out to 4DeFi. Also, we're fans of that product as well. I mean, does it make sense to have even if it's a cold wallet, does it make sense to have billions in a single wallet? Like, even if that's considered a cold wallet, I mean, does it make sense to break it up into multiple wallets so that if you do by mistake implement some some nefarious code in there, it's just one wallet and you have them broken up? Like, I'm not sure if
Well,
that's going to be something as well.
it's
To
just
start
it
breaking them out.
increases your service area for attack, right? It's a trade-off. Like I was talking to someone once about, should I send, I have a large transaction and should I send it in 10 pieces or just all at once? It's like, well, if you send it in 10 pieces, you're 10 times more likely to have an issue, pop up.
Yeah, but if you're a business that has like recurring revenue like Bybit, they make nine figures a month, it's okay to lose 100 million if you need to, but you don't want to like risk the business. And yeah, maybe some things will improve. I mean, like I say, this is like a cat and mouse game where the hackers improve and then the people improve their security, and it's like the antivirus stuff. So I think now we have some learnings to be more careful with signing stuff and using maybe smaller wallets. So cool, awesome. Anyway, it's been a fantastic episode. Thank you for coming, Evgeny. We hope to have you again, and please like give us some respite from the nuking. Just let us have the weekend off, please. Like,
Please.
Yeah, please stop
Okay.
dumping the meme coins.
3 or 4 tickers I want you to take care of, Evgeny. That's it.
No, thanks for having me.
enjoy the weekend, and we'll ask Ben from Bybit to also stop trying to recover the rest of the billion from the liquidations. Hopefully they can hold off a little bit as well, and we can enjoy the weekend. So see you later, lads. Take care.